Welcome to Module 4. This is an important segment of our course designed to elevate your expertise and skills as a medical science liaison or as a professional in the field of medical affairs in the pharmaceutical industry. In this module, we will talk about the core competencies required for MSLs, focusing on areas that are universally applicable, regardless of the therapeutic area you are specialized in. Also, we will explore the concept of scientific acumen, which is a cornerstone for anyone working in the healthcare, particularly in specialized roles like yours, like MSLs. Before going further, I wanted to highlight the importance of continuous learning for you as MSLs or for anyone working in medical affairs. Continuous learning is a must. It's very crucial for career growth, and it is one of the core competencies needed in medical affairs. And it's essential to contributing meaningfully to patient outcomes and the broader medical community. We have already emphasized in previous modules that continuous learning is not just an option, it's a necessity. And I wanted to reinforce this message again. Because whether you are MSL or a field medical team member or anyone involved in medical affairs in the pharmaceutical industry, the landscape you are operating in is ever evolving and very dynamic. New research, emerging technologies, and updated guidelines. And of course, this requires you to be very well prepared to stay ahead or even just to keep pace. You must commit to a lifelong journey of learning. As I mentioned, this field is different little bit than the medical work or the working in healthcare institute. It's a very dynamic field or very dynamic field in healthcare. Standing still is not an option. Your commitment to continuous learning is not just beneficial for your career growth, it's essential for contributing meaningfully to your role and to the patient outcomes and to the medical community you are dealing with. If you really are committed to a career in medical affairs in the pharmaceutical industry, then lifelong learning is not an option, it's a requirement. Please remember this. If you want to continue working in medical affairs in the pharmaceutical industry, you have to keep learning. Lifelong learning is not an option, it's a requirement. Now, let's talk about scientific acumen. Scientific acumen for MSLs is very important for multiple reasons, and we will discuss these. But more important, it is a cornerstone of effective field medical teams and medical science liaisons. In our industry, where innovation and evidence-based practices are the norm, a keen understanding of scientific principles is another necessity. Why scientific acumen is another necessity? One, credibility and trust. Field medical teams and MSLs often serve as a bridge between pharmaceutical companies and the healthcare professionals and the medical community in general. That's why a strong grasp of scientific concepts lends credibility to their interactions, fostering trust and meaningful dialogues. For example, when discussing a new drug's mechanism of action, a well-informed MSL can provide insights that go beyond the surface, thereby earning the healthcare provider's trust. Number 2, decision making. Scientific acumen helps in making informed decisions. Whether it's evaluating the efficacy of a new treatment or understanding the implications of clinical trial, a solid scientific foundation is crucial. Take, for example, The case of a new oncology drug, an MSL with a deep understanding of oncology and tumor suppressors will be better equipped to interpret clinical trial data and share valuable insights with oncologists. Number three, regulatory compliance. Understanding science behind pharmaceuticals is also essential for navigating the complex landscape of regulatory compliance. An example for this, when a new drug is coming through the approval process, MSL must be able to understand and communicate the scientific data and the value proposition that supports its safety and efficacy in a compliant manner. 4. Educational outreach. One of the primary roles of field medical teams and MSLs is to educate healthcare providers. This could range from explaining the results of a recent study to providing information on best practices for drug administration. An equipped, well prepared MSL with high scientific acumen who can break down complex scientific data into understandable terms can be invaluable resource. Take in consideration that we don't expect all healthcare professionals to be experts in clinical trials and interpreting scientific data, but you are expected to be the subject matter experts in these areas. 5. Competitive advantage. In a market saturated with similar products, MSLs, and other professionals, an MSL ability to convincingly present scientific data can make all the difference. For example, if two antihypertensive medications are similar in efficacy and side effects, a well informed MSL with high scientific acumen of the drug's pharmacokinetics can tip the scale in favor of the medication, can highlight what cannot be seen at the first glance. For MSLs and medical teams in general, scientific acumen is a must to grow your career growth. In this era, those who can keep up with the latest research, understand its implications, and communicate its value are often the ones who climb the corporate ladder. I didn't know any medical colleague who grew in his career or her career without having a very high scientific acumen. So let's go further into this area. Now that we know all this about the importance of maintaining scientific acumen, we need to understand and keep in mind the strategies that we need to adopt in order to maintain our scientific acumen. One of the most straightforward ways to keep ahead of scientific developments is by regularly reviewing medical literature. Journals like the New England Journal of Medicine, for example, Lancet, the Nature Medicine are excellent sources of high impact studies. The recommendation here is to do regular literature reviews by yourself on a regular manner. Also, networking with thought leaders and key opinion leaders. This is very important methodology and strategy to maintain your scientific acumen. So, networking with those key opinion leaders in the same field can provide insights that are not really available in published literature. For instance, discussions about ongoing clinical trials can offer a glimpse into the future therapeutic landscapes. Participating in conferences and webinars cannot be overlooked. They are platforms where the latest research is often first presented. Also, they offer opportunities for hands on workshops and networking. As an example of these conferences, the annual American Society of Clinical Oncology It is considered a must attend for everyone involved in cancer research or treatment. Also, the future is going towards e learning, online courses, and certifications. Online platforms offer specialized courses that can help us as MSLs to deepen our understanding of specific therapeutic areas or technologies. For example, a course on advanced immunology will definitely help MSLs who are working on autoimmune diseases. Many pharmaceutical companies offer in house training programs that are tailored to the needs of MSLs. These programs often include modules on effective communication, data interpretation, and compliance, in addition to the various scientific updates. So, these are five main strategies to maintain high scientific acumen, which is a cornerstone and one of the core competencies of for medical affairs. And as we talk about scientific acumen and lifelong learning, it seems that there is a long list of topics that we need to learn and master. The most important and on top of this list is the therapeutic area you are specialized in because of many reasons. One, healthcare providers often seek MSLs for their expertise in a certain therapeutic area. The ability to discuss complex topics like disease, mechanism of action, treatment options, and emerging research adds depth and value to these interactions. So, without your expertise in the therapeutic area, it will be very challenging to enter into a dialogue with your key opinion leaders. Also, the MSL's insights can be invaluable for healthcare providers making clinical decisions. For example, in rheumatology, the MSL's understanding of the latest biologics and their mechanism of action can definitely guide the physician's treatment plan. MSLs also can collaborate with research teams and key opinion leaders in their therapeutic area, and their expertise can influence the direction of new research, ensuring it is both relevant and impactful. Also, MSLs frequently conduct educational sessions, webinars, and symposium focused on their therapeutic area. Their expertise ensures that these events are not just informative but also scientifically accurate. So, the disease state that you are working in and the scientific knowledge of the therapeutic area must be very well understood by the MSL and all the field medical teams working in certain therapeutic area. When it comes to the components of therapeutic area, let's say oncology or rheumatology, what are the key components of this therapeutic area that you need to develop expertise in? Number one, the disease state and pathophysiology. Number two, treatment protocols and guidelines, and all the updates in this area. Number three, emerging research and innovations. So these are the three areas, and actually, this is everything that you need to master about the therapeutic area you are specialized in. So if you are MSL working on rheumatoid arthritis or rheumatology, you need to understand the disease and its pathophysiology. You need to understand the treatment protocols and guidelines and which guidelines is affecting your key opinion leaders or the practice in your region or your country. Emerging research and innovations, what's in your pipeline and what's coming and what are the competitor landscape and so on. So therapeutic area is the top on top of the list of the areas that you need to learn and to master. The second very important area that you need to master is clinical trials. Yes, your role is not just important but also complex. No one said that the role of MSLs or field medical teams is an easy role. It is complex and it is very important. One of the cornerstones of this complexity is the understanding and the interpretation of clinical trials. This is a core competency that is indispensable for anyone working in medical affairs. So, if you work in medical affairs and you want to continue your career working in this field, you need to master all the information about clinical trials. Clinical trials are the backbone of medical innovation and directly impacting patient care. So, your knowledge in this area is very important. What do you need to know about research? Almost everything, starting from understanding the study design, the types of clinical trials, the types or the phases of clinical research, endpoints and biomarkers, regulatory guidelines, good clinical practice guidelines, ethical considerations related to clinical research, data interpretation, statistical significance versus clinical relevance, risk benefit analysis, evidence based medicine, real world evidence, and post marketing studies. And the list is endless. You need to know and study this very well. Mastering these topics is a requirement in order to succeed in your career. And without this expertise, you will find yourself at various crossroads, unable to navigate the complexities that come with interpreting clinical trials data. This is especially true when you change therapeutic areas, as different areas often employ unique trial designs and endpoints. My recommendation is to invest in continuous learning once again. I strongly encourage you to invest your time in deepening your understanding of clinical trials. For those interested, I have some resources, invaluable online and free resources to help you learn and enrich your journey in clinical trials. Feel free to reach out to me for access to those resources. So, your expertise in clinical trials is not just a career booster, it's a necessity. And let's commit to elevating our collective knowledge and skills in this area in order to step ahead and progress in our careers. And here we come to the second part of this lecture. We will explore now the core competencies essential for MSLs and field medical teams. These are not just skills, they are your toolkit for success. Data interpretation and analysis. This is one of the most important core competencies that you need to develop, and we discussed this earlier. Ethical considerations. Your moral compass in navigating patient care and research integrity. And without these ethical consideration and good knowledge of them, you will face a lot of challenges when it comes to dealing with the external environment. Communication skills, they are essential for conveying complex data and fostering collaborations. Adaptability and continuous learning. We talked enough about continuous learning, but when it comes to adaptability, this is part of your life in the pharmaceutical industry. Stay ahead in an ever evolving field by continuous learning. Once again, networking skills and relationship building, another important competency you need to grow. And this is your gateway to impactful collaborations. Strategic thinking is a must for successful planning and for successful cross functional collaboration. You need to see the bigger picture and plan accordingly. And that's how you need to develop strategic thinking as a core competency for medical affairs. Project management, how to organize, execute, and lead projects to completion. Leadership, inspire and guide others, direct reports or none or without even authority towards common goals. These core competencies, this is not all of them, but these are the mandatory list that you need to start working on once you join medical affairs in the pharmaceutical industry. Career progression and ongoing learning is a long journey. And as you advance in your career, it is important to recognize that the previous list you have seen in the last slide is not exclusive. The landscape of medical affairs is very dynamic, and as you climb the career ladder, you will encounter new challenges that require additional skills and expertise. Whether it's diving deeper into regulatory affairs or medical finance, mastering advanced data analytics, or leading cross functional teams, these are all areas where more skills are needed. And probably that's another reason why lifelong learning is a must in medical affairs. So consider this list as the foundational toolkit and open your appetite for more to come in the future. Okay, so obviously this man is diving, and here you need to dive too. Before we wrap up this section, I want to highlight something. This module, Module 4, is packed with vital information that you will use throughout your career. We are not just skimming the surface here, we are really going deep. So you will learn about different types of endpoints in clinical trials and how they drive the objectives of a clinical trial. Also, you will learn more about the concept of the p value and discuss its adjustments. And you will dive more and more into often confused terms of statistical significance and clinical relevance. I strongly recommend that you actively engage with these terminologies, read, do some research, and internalize them. The more familiar you are with these concepts, the more professional you will become. And remember, if you have any question, need further clarification, I'm just a message away. Don't hesitate to reach out for additional resources or guidance. Thank you very much for your time for in this session, and see you soon.